Well, the Academy Awards were last night, but the real action took place here at the Super 8 tournament at TD Garden. Dan McCarthy alongside Globe correspondent Andrew MacDougall, and we're going to start with Malden Catholic versus Catholic Memorial. It was a back-and-forth affair between Catholic Memorial and three-time defending champion Malden Catholic. The Lancers' Will Lawrence drew first blood by going top shelf on Knights goaltender Brandon Collette in the first period. Despite being outplayed in the first, Paul Hardiman and the Knights were able to sneak a puck past Malden Catholic to tie it up, heading into the first intermission. The Knights were back on the offensive to start off the second, as Aaron Clancy took a juicy rebound in the slot and put CM up 2-1. But the lead did not last long, as Matthew Philippe weaved through the Knights' defense for a pretty score through the 5-hole. Teammate Tyler Siflin isn't one to be outdone, so he took a breakaway of his own up and over the shoulder of Collette to help the Lancers reclaim the lead. But just like in the first, the Knights' Paul Hardiman would strike right before the buzzer. He frees the puck from goaltender Alex Rices to tie the game at 3 heading into the third period. The game would stay that way until late in the third, when it was once again Tyler Siflin's time to shine. He takes a puck that hits off 2 of the Knights' sticks and blows it past Collette to give the Lancers a 4-3 lead. That proved to be the game winner, as Malden Catholic took Game 1 from Catholic Memorial. Lancers goaltender Alex Rices made 21 stops, and head coach John McLean was glad he had more action in this one than the team's 11-0 win over the Knights last month.
They outshot us today, which I don't think's happened all year. So that's good, for him to build his confidence up. First time here being our number one goalie in the Guard, and I thought he did okay.
So Andrew, what was the biggest surprise for you coming out of that game?
I think it was just Malden Catholic's resiliency. Obviously, they've been here before. This is their 15th consecutive win in the Division 1A tournament. So they know the ropes. They're 4-0 at the Garden over the last couple of years. The bright lights of this stadium doesn't really get to them. So just, their resiliency even in the midst of, adversity.
Star performer for either team?
It has to be Tyler Siflin. Paul Hardiman for Catholic Memorial had 2 goals, but Tyler Siflin's one of the 2 kids that they go to between him and Aaron Azarian, probably the 2 best forward tandem in the state. His ability to put up 2 goals in that power play goal with 2:08 left in regulation. He wants this 4th title as much as anyone, and it shows tonight.
Up next, we have number 1 ranked BC High taking on Xaverian. It was a slow start for number 1 ranked BC High, as Xaverian found the net early in the first and kept the Eagles off the scoreboard through the first buzzer. But the Eagles found their flight pattern in the second, as junior forward Tim Larocque cut through the crease to tie the game up at 1. Hawks goaltender Aiden Murphy was a force in net, holding the Eagles at bay for as long as he could with 20 saves. But it was Larocque once again at the end of the second period, cleaning up in the blue paint to give BC High a 2-1 lead. The score stayed that way to the finish, despite Xaverian finding their shooting stroke in the third. The Hawks outshot the Eagles 9-3, but goaltender Brandon Payson held the line to give BC High the 2-1 victory. Despite the win, BC High head coach John Flaherty was unhappy with his team's penalties that kept the game tight through 3 periods.
Penalty kill got too much work, we gotta do better in that area. And I think that the guys that were out there killing penalties did a nice job.
Looking at our other 2 games now, Central Catholic versus Austin Prep, which you believe was a game defined by goaltending.
Yeah, it was. Central's Colin Soucy allowed 2 goals in the first 4 shots that he faced. AP's up 2-0 within the first 3 minutes. Really rebounded nicely, finished with 21 saves on the day, came up with the big saves that his team needed down the stretch. Really puts his confidence in a good spot heading into Thursday's do-or-die game for them. His counterpart on the other side of the ice, Elijah Harris, 32 saves and 33 chances, really showed why he was such an important piece to their run to the Super 8 final last year.
And our second game was Springfield Cathedral versus Duxbury, which was probably the biggest surprise for you for the day?
Yeah, it was. A 4-1 final doesn't look like it's too much of a surprise on paper, considering that Springfield Cathedral is the highest scoring team in the state. But the game was 2-1 within the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of regulation. Duxbury really gave Springfield about as much as they could handle through the second period. Springfield's up 1-0. Duxbury gets the equalizer early in the second. Duxbury allows a goal late in the second and then spends the entire third really pressing the net and really trying to get the equalizer. They get burned on the back end by this Division I leading scorer, Peter Cronella. But Duxbury showed that they can hang with Springfield Cathedral, and that will do a lot for their momentum heading into Thursday's game.
Great. Well, that wraps up our coverage of the Super 8 tournament. Day 1, anyway. We still got plenty more hockey to be had. For Andrew MacDougall, I'm Dan McCarthy for the Boston Globe and Boston.com.